Hey everyone! Finally able to do a video today. I'm actually planning to do two. I originally I have the day off tomorrow and I'm going to be over at my boyfriend's house and he's going to be at work, so I'm going to have the whole place to myself to be able to do videos. But I have quite a few tags I want to do, and I want to do my monthly wrap-up, and I want to do a review, so I didn't want to I don't know if I was going to have that much time before he got home to do at least like 5 videos. And I didn't want to drag all of my books for my monthly wrap-up over there, because just the way I am, I like to hold the books in my videos. So I thought I'd do that in my book review today, and then I could just do the tags over there tomorrow. My sister is currently in the process of packing for a trip to Italy this weekend, and she's also thought this would be a good time to reorganize our room. Don't ask me. So I'm in kind of a slightly different location because I have no room to sit or set up my camera anywhere else right now. It's just kind of all a mess. Yeah, so anyway, before I just start to vent about all of my life's frustrations, let's get into the review. I probably should find the book before I do this. Okay, I just had a little interruption, but now I'm back and good to go. The book I'm going to be reviewing is Shadows on the Moon by Zoe Marriott. This is a fantastical retelling of Cinderella set in a world that is very much like the ancient feudal Japan, but it's not actually Japan. It just happens to be almost exactly like Japan and use Japanese language. It is about this girl, Suzume, which I guess is the girl on the cover, who, for certain circumstances, her father is killed, and then her mother remarries this evil man named Lord Terayama, who is the evil stepfather instead of an evil stepmother, and then something happens that makes her forced to flee the house, and then she disguises herself as a servant girl, Rin, and then she's forced to flee again and disguises herself as a courtesan, Yue, and she is told that she has this power called shadow weaving, which she's able to cast illusions and things like that. And the prince in this book isn't a very big deal. The romance is actually between her and this foreigner named Otieno. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but I believe he's supposed to be from Africa or something like that, and him and several others are on a diplomatic mission to the country, which I want to keep saying to Japan, but it's not really. It's called, their name for it is Tsuki no Hikari no Kuni, which means the moonlit lands. I don't want to give away too much of the synopsis, but I was really looking forward to this book because I have, as you probably know, big history with Japan. Despite never having actually been there, I used to be a huge Japanophile, so much to the fact that I majored in Japanese, even though I'm now not doing anything whatsoever with that anymore. I did still think this would be such a cool book to read because, I've studied a lot about Japan and language and everything in the past, and the Cinderella fantasy retelling attitude was just a bonus, so I thought that was a cool combination of genres and that I would really like it. To sum it up, I did enjoy the book and I gave it a 4 out of 5. I guess I'll just talk about my positives first. It was a very engaging book, and I was engrossed and pretty much immersed in the story throughout the whole thing. It was really interesting to read about. There was use of random Japanese words sprinkled throughout the text, and well, I didn't feel that they were really necessary because sometimes they were translated, sometimes they were not. I mean, I didn't really need the translation, but that's only because I know Japanese. I mean, I'm not fluent, but I still do understand it. I thought it was kind of interesting. It just had a nostalgic feel for me, almost like back in class doing translations. But I thought that was neat. The concept, I guess, is still my favorite thing about it, and I liked that it took it had some themes in there similar to, I don't want to spoil anything, but not exactly, some non-traditional relationships are take place in this book, or at least they did in the past before this book. And Suzume actually has two fairy godmothers in this. Well, yeah, one is actually at least a godfather, but I thought that was interesting. I much preferred her first fairy godfather, Yota, who was one of the like kitchen hands, like old man who worked in the kitchen, who helped her a lot. And then later on, when she disguised herself as Yue, she met a new fairy godmother named Akira, who actually I thought has a more interesting like a background as a character, but I prefer Yota for some reason. I'm not sure why. To get into the negatives, I found this book in terms of plot-wise and romance to be quite disappointing. It was, although I didn't actually find it boring, I can't say that I did, and there's really not that much action in it. I would have preferred some more action scenes, like there's a tiny bit at the end, but for some reason, I was into it when I was reading, but I kind of also wanted to be like, okay, pick up the pace. But I still liked the story despite that, and I really, with all my negatives, I only deducted 1 star. It's still a 4 out of 5. But my main thing was the romance. It was lackluster. Her relationship with Otieno, it was kind of insta-lovey, and he was just presented as like the perfect guy for her. Like, what are his character flaws? I don't know. Suzume seems to be like tied down with all of the, when I keep saying Japanese, but all of her country, the Moonlit Lands Japanese essential culture, to be, not very open and expressive, and his country, Athasia, whatever it is, I don't know how to pronounce it, is much more open and expressive and more of an individualist culture, I guess, than Japan was. I get in the book that seemed to be painted as being, the better culture. At least Suzume was. She responded better to that than how she had been raised. But just the romantic scenes for them, there were not enough. There was really barely anything of them actually in the beginning of them getting to know each other. Is just kind of described like, oh, we would spend time together and blah blah blah. And I'm like, where are these scenes? I want to see you two really actually getting to know each other as friends before all of a sudden like, oh, you're in love, and then I don't know, it was insta-lovey for me. And I know it's a fairy tale retelling, but it's not like he's the prince, so it's different. She put her own spin on the story and she changed it. But their relationship was not exactly insta-love, but very close to it, and that really, really disappointed me. Later on, when they actually do become romantically involved, I thought all of a sudden the way they acted was very much against, the cultural norms. And although Suzume was not exactly, the paragon of, the Japanese perfect, virtuous woman or anything, I thought, things that happened between them were not exactly realistic. Not that I should maybe be looking for that in a fairy tale, but this world was almost exactly like feudal Japan, like so much so that seeing these anachronisms, so to speak, were just a little bit jarring to me. I did really enjoy this book, and I don't want to deter people from reading it, but I have to say I much preferred Alison Goodman's Eon and Iona Dragon Eye duology, because that is set in a totally different world that's inspired by, Chinese and Japanese influences, yet it was very much its own distinct place. This felt like it really was in Japan, so when there were things that were happening which were not exactly would be true to the time, it just felt kind of weird. I don't know. I guess I just, take issue with things that other people normally don't care about, maybe. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for this book, and I'll see you guys later.